Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to my very first podcast in a series of podcasts that I choose to speak about the topic Detox the Mind. I came up with the idea because I realized that we as human beings spend a lot of time on our physical outward appearance. We buy expensive clothing, we exercise, we detox. And we really, go the extra mile to look good outwardly in the way we show up in the world. But how much time do we really spend on the health of our minds? And I want to speak about negative affirmations tonight. Basically, a negative affirmation is a negative thought process, the quality of a negative thought process that runs in autopilot in our minds. And once it becomes dominant, it actually affects our mind, body, and soul. It manifests in us feeling negative about ourselves, and our self-esteem goes down, and our self-confidence goes down. And now you can see why it's so important to actually address a negative affirmation as it happens, when it happens, because we're going to experience a better state of mind. And like I said in the beginning, how much time and effort do we really spend on the state of our minds, the health of our minds? So the first process in wanting to bring about change is actually recognition. So when a negative affirmation happens, when you have a negative thought, like, for example, you wake up in the morning and you say to yourself, I didn't have a good night's sleep, this is going to be a horrible day. That's a negative affirmation. Actively replace it with a positive affirmation where you tell yourself, yes, I affirm I had a bad night's sleep, but guess what? I'm going to make this day a wonderful day. I'm going to be positive. And follow it on with a positive action where you actually, maybe as an example, ask your partner, how did you sleep? Did you have a good night's rest? Speak about it, offer to make him or her a cup of coffee. That's a positive action. And actually tell him or her when you leave, have a wonderful day at work, and tell yourself, I'm going to have a wonderful day at work as well. Now, I'm not sure how many of you are familiar with the author John Cahill. John Cahill, in his book Mind Power into the 21st Century, speaks about the power of the mind. And he actually affirms in that book that mankind's biggest ally, a favorable ally, is our minds and the way we think about things and perceive things. And actually, in that book, he actually gives examples of people that changed their circumstance profoundly because of the way they thought about what's happening in their lives. And some of them were cancer patients that actually could turn around their cancer diagnosis into remission because of the way they handled it and their thought process and being positive. Malcolm Gladwell, in his book Outliers, actually say that if we exercise something 10,000 hours, we become a master in it. So I want to challenge all of us to exercise positive thoughts, recognize negative affirmations, change it into a positive affirmation. And guess what? When we start doing that, we actually teach our brain to actually start thinking positive all the time. Because when we exercise something, we create a neural pathway in our brain that actually says, I want to think positive the whole time. Because it's there now, it's been exercised the whole time. So I'm going to challenge all of you to detox your mind.